Hello guys, Alex from McVeigh Games here. Today we have a mirror match between it's kind of a mirror match. It's a Stitch Turbo Steel deck versus my opponent is on a Stitch Turbo Blue deck. So it ramps a little bit more, while the Steel version's a little bit more powerful and has better oomph in it with cards like Tinkerbell. But the ramp version, you're able to get out the cards like Aurora to protect your Stitch from spot removal, which is good. So, my opening hand, I don't see a Rockstar Stitch. I have a Lantern, though, and a Baby Stitch. So, hopefully that's really good. We Baby Simba, draw a card. So, we're drawn to drop one. And then we give her to our second Lantern. Hence why playing 4 is okay in this deck, because Simba's just insane. The card, even though it's on the +1, but since the game is super slow right now, the ability to just see the top card of your deck is absolutely bonkers. So we're going to be our guest. Add the Tinkerbell, because we really don't need either of them, and Tinkerbell's kind of like a pseudo-win con in this deck. So we're just going to pass, because Stitch can positively trade into our Simba. They draw for turn. They're going to Inkwell an Aurora, and they are going to summon a Minnie Mouse, and then pass turn after they quest. Draw Goons for turn, probably just going to put that into the Inkwell right away, because the Simba's just better. Or, okay, we decide to sequence it, summon Simba first, see what we draw. Get rid of the Hey Hey. Yeah, probably get rid of the Hey Hey, because Stitch is just an overall better card. Inkwell the Goons, and then we're going to play the Lantern, and then that lets us play the Baby Stitch. In the off chance that we do top deck a Rockstar Stitch, we're then able to put him out on turn 3 and apply huge pressure on the opponent. So we still decide not to quest, because the Simbas can't do anything against the guys, and they can both possibly trade. So we want to keep our card advantage up, because Teenage Simba has Bodyguard, so our little dudes that don't possibly trade can start gaining more freely. They Inkwell another Develop Your Brain, so they've done 2 Develop Your Brains and an Aurora and the Inkwell right now. So it looks like their hand's about what they need. One jump ahead, no, just in time, into a Moana, which that card's really spooky, especially with it pairing with Minnie Mouse. They decide for some reason, I guess they decide not to quest the Minnie Mouse, because they don't want it to die. So we're thinking of questioning the Beast Mirror, but I think the sequencing here is probably going to attack with the Simba into the Baby Stitch, take 1 damage, Baby Simba dies, right? And then we're going to summon Hades to add back the Simba. And then we're going to Inkwell the Beast Mirror, and then summons the Baby Simba in hopes we draw a Rockstar Stitch. And if we don't, we just discard it, because the Tinkerbell is coming out on the next turn. So we just quest 2 there, because our strategy really isn't too focused on Rockstar Stitch anymore. So we really don't need the Baby Stitch to stick around. And right now, both the guys positively trade into the Baby Stitch on the opponent's side of the field. So they would have to attack with Minnie Mouse, which would be very suboptimal for them, because they'd be taking damage and make it susceptible to be outed by a card like Tinkerbell or something. So they decide to quest him, and then they're going to quest the Moana to then re-ready the Minnie Mouse. And then they're probably going to keep it that way, just so they can do the combo next turn. I don't know what they're going to do with the Baby Stitch, because we have enough to out the Moana on the following turn, and they just can't deal with anything, so they decide to trade Stitches, which is fine. So this turn, as long as we draw an Inkable card, we're able to summon the Tinkerbell, do 1 damage to both, which puts the Moana at 5, and then both of our dudes, because Moana only does 1, is able to just deal with the Moana. It's a lot of card usage to out a singular Moana, but it's kind of what's needed, because that card's really, really good. Then they summons Aurora, which it's kind of rough, because Tinkerbell won't be able to choose anything after she damages stuff. So we do draw an Inkable card, which is pretty good. And then we're just going to summon the Tinkerbell. And then probably deal with the Moana, so that their Princess strategy can't do anything. So just trade. It's okay here, mainly because none of them die, so it's fine. If any of them died, then it would have been a little rough, but it forces the opponent to deal with them. So we're essentially on 4 cards to 4 cards. lanterns on the field, but it's not really card advantage. It just puts us a little bit up in ramp, which is surprising because they're a ramp deck. They sing Let It Go out the Tinkerbell, which really is rough for this deck because it puts this deck on top deck mode, and since this deck is like a combo deck with Stitch, it plays a lot of low cost, so I don't really have any bombs I can draw. So my draws are going to be very suboptimal for many, many turns until I can hopefully draw into a Rockstar Stitch, because I believe at this time the decks are around like 48, 50 cards, and with my deck having 2 more Be Our Guest, no, 3 more Be Our Guest, I believe, 4 Rockstar Stitch, and 3 Tinkerbell, I have a lot of good cards I can draw, but I need to draw them like soon, and a cards like Goons just isn't going to cut it. We decide to quest the Simba instead of dealing. Oh, the reason we do it because both of them would die if they attack, so we're okay with the mini dying. And as long as we weren't playing around any healing spells, which I believe they do have a healing spell, so that's a punish. They just let it go at Goons, which is absolutely insane that they're just doing stuff like that. We draw Baby Stitch. Not good at all. It still like trades optimally, but there it is, like a healing spell. Just puts us so far behind. We just need to top deck good. We need them to not top deck good, which is a lot to ask for. But hey, it's okay. Not super great, but it's cool that Supporter does decent stuff. Really nothing. Like we can quest, force him to attack, and then that's about it. Pass. Because the Aurora is doing 2 lore every turn, which is kind of a lot, and could eventually outpace us. That could just be a problem. They do have more cards than us, unfortunately. Yeah, so they pop down a Baby Stitch. Then they're going to quest the Aurora, which is fine. So we draw a Minnie Mouse, which is okay. I think we quest the Hey Hey, and then from there we give it to Baby Stitch, and the Baby Stitch does a lot of damage to Aurora. So any of our guys can positively trade into it. Unfortunately, the Baby Stitch can positively trade into our Hey Hey, which kind of sucks. So I think that was a misplay overall. We should just quest it both. Yeah, we probably should. I don't know. We could have just kept both in attack, and then had Minnie Mouse deal with. Yeah, we could have just been conservative, but we decided to be a little bit aggressive. Put them on, draw bad, which ultimately that's what we had to put them on anyway. And he's not super great, so that was a good relief. It does get their Inkwell up a little bit, so that they could potentially draw a bomb. But because they're playing Amber, I don't believe they're playing many bombs in their deck. Bombs are more in like the Emerald and the Ruby. I think they're seeing what they want to do. 100% the play is to quest Aurora and just possibly trade with Baby Stitch. Just getting a +1. +1s aren't like, they're really, really good in this game, but I'm not 100% sure if like they're all like the end all be all in the game. Hook is like fine. It's not super great. He positively trades into the Detective Vicky, which is kind of cool. But it can deal with anything realistically. But it like 1-for-1 trades realistically into anything. Yeah, that was what we needed. A 1-jump ahead really was bad right there for them. It was essentially just a -1 for them. Then I think they're just. They should quest the other 2. There's no reason they shouldn't quest the other 2, but they don't. Which is absolutely insane. Because then the Hook can just positively trade into the Mickey Mouse. That was probably like the worst play they probably could have done. Because they probably could have gotten like free 3 free lore, which would have put them at 14. Which would put them very, very ahead. Because then here they'd get 3 more, would put them at 17. And I think that would just be game if they decide to do that. And I really can't do anything. Even if I top deck like a good card, I don't think I can really come back. So they add to hand another Aurora. They can't play it, which is very strange. I wonder if that was their only target. But it's like a good follow-up, I guess. And then now they quest both, which is like wild. Because they could just have been at like 17 by now. And then force me to top deck something good, which I do. I top deck the Tinkerbell, which is kind of crazy. So it just outs both of them. But imagine if they quested both of them and they were at 17 instead of being at like 14. It puts them on like 8, this Aurora that they touched down would have been just like really, really good, because that would put them at 19. Then any character that would have been like one job would just won them the game. So they have big Aurora on hand, baby Aurora on field, and yeah, same thing. They would have been able to quest. It would have put them at 19 the following turn. I quest everything, try to catch up a little bit of pace, and then the summons of Aurora here would literally just win them the game, assuming they quested that previous turn when they quested with just Detective Mickey, which was a huge fumble here. But they don't, and they're just going to attack, which is wrong 100%, but it's okay. We draw Rockstar Stitch, so that's crazy. We're just in the driver's seat now. Now we can just possibly trade into things. Like we can go 1-1. We could have probably done Tinkerbell and then do 2 damage to Aurora, but we really don't care about Aurora right now, because like this is 6 on field, and then puts us at 14, so it puts the opponent on, you have to attack with the Aurora, so the Aurora's just kind of sitting duck. Like, they can deal with the cabinet hook, which is fine, but then puts them at 4, and then Tinkerbell just beats it, and then, like, if I top deck a 1 cost, then we just full combo, which is absolutely insane. So, we're just, like, really far ahead right now. But that was a crucial misplay on them. They decided not to quest with the Aurora and the Baby Stitch that turn, so it put them very far behind. But everyone learns, and everyone will get better. Game's still very new. A lot of misplays are to happen. They're just thinking out if there's anything. Yeah, they decide to attack into Tinkerbell, which is wrong, because they don't even get a chance. Like, I guess the draws, and then maybe draw into spot removal, but I don't even think they play spot removal. They can play off, like, very little lore, unfortunately. Like, they have 1 out of 7. Yeah, I think we just quest out a win. We wouldn't be able to combo, which was lucky for them, but yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace.